What if I told you that the moment most people spend their whole lives dreading is actually the moment their real life finally begins? What if retirement is not the end of something wonderful, but the start of something even better? And what if the only thing standing between you and the most fulfilling years of your entire life is simply knowing what is possible and believing that you deserve it? Stay with me, because what I am about to share with you today might just change the way you see everything. Welcome to my channel, the channel that speaks honestly, warmly, and directly to the people who have worked hard their whole lives and deserve to know exactly what they have earned, what they are entitled to, and how to make the very most of every single day that follows. I want to start with a question, and I want you to really think about it. Not just let it wash over you, but actually sit with it for a moment. When was the last time you did something purely because it made you happy? Not because it needed to be done. Not because someone else was depending on you. Not because it was your job or your duty or your responsibility. Just because it brought you joy. For a lot of people watching this right now, it has been a very long time. And for many, they cannot even remember the answer. That is what retirement can change. That is what retirement is supposed to change. But somewhere along the way, a story got told about retirement that was never really true. And too many people believed it. The story said that retirement means slowing down, stepping back, becoming invisible. It said that your most productive years are behind you, that your relevance fades when your working life ends, that the best you can hope for is a quiet corner and a comfortable chair. And I am here today to tell you with complete and utter conviction that that story is wrong. It always was. Let me tell you about a woman I will call Margaret. She worked for 38 years as a school dinner lady in a small town in Yorkshire. Every single day she showed up. She fed hundreds of children. She knew their names. She remembered which ones had allergies. She noticed which ones seemed sad. And she quietly made sure that no child in that school ever felt invisible during their lunch hour. She retired at 66, and the first few months were hard. Not because she was unwell, not because she had no money, but because she did not know who she was without her routine, without the noise of that canteen, without the small but meaningful purpose that had shaped her days for nearly 4 decades. Her daughter was worried. Her friends noticed she had gone quiet. And then something happened. Her neighbor asked her to help with a community garden project that was just getting started. Margaret went along one Saturday morning expecting to spend an hour, maybe 2, just to be polite. She stayed for 6 hours. She came back the following weekend. And the weekend after that. Within 6 months, she was running the entire thing. Within a year, that garden was feeding 30 local families with fresh vegetables every single week. And Margaret had found not just a new purpose, but an entirely new version of herself that she had never even known existed. I tell you that story not because it is extraordinary, but because it is not. Stories like Margaret's are happening every day, all around us, in every town and village and city in this country. People who spent decades giving everything to their careers, to their families, to their communities, who step into retirement and discover for the very first time what they are truly capable of when they are finally free to choose. But here is the thing that nobody tells you enough. That freedom does not just happen on its own. It takes a little courage, a little planning, and sometimes it takes someone reminding you that you have earned the right to reach for it. So that is what I want to do today. I want to talk about what is genuinely possible in retirement in 2026 and beyond. And I want to make sure you are walking away from this video feeling not anxious, not uncertain, but genuinely excited about what comes next. The first thing I want to talk about is money, because I know that for many people it is the thing sitting quietly at the back of every conversation about retirement, creating a low hum of worry that never quite goes away. The fear that there will not be enough. The fear that the state alone will not cover everything, that savings will run out, that one unexpected bill will unravel everything that was carefully planned. Those fears are real, and they deserve to be taken seriously, not dismissed. But what I also want you to know is that there is more help available to retired people in this country than most people ever claim, simply because they do not know it exists. Credit is perhaps the most underclaimed benefit in the entire system. It is designed specifically for people over the state age who are on a lower income, and it does not just top up your weekly income. It acts as a gateway to a whole range of other support, including help with housing costs, council tax reductions, a free television license for those over 75, and access to the Warm Home Discount Scheme. Hundreds of thousands of people who are entitled to credit are not claiming it right now. Not because they are too proud, but simply because they do not know they qualify, or they find the process of applying daunting. If there is any chance that you or someone you know might be eligible, please do not let it sit. The money is there for people who have worked hard and contributed throughout their lives, and there is absolutely no shame in taking what you are owed. Beyond the financial support, I also want to talk about something that matters just as much as money but gets far less attention. I want to talk about your time and what you choose to do with it, because I genuinely believe that how you spend your time in retirement is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. Not the biggest, not the most complex, but one of the most important, because it shapes everything else. Your health, your mental well-being, your relationships, your sense of purpose, your happiness. All of it flows from this one question. What are you going to do with the extraordinary gift of time that retirement gives you? Now, I am not going to stand here and tell you that you need to take up marathon running or learn a new language or travel the world, because frankly, not everyone wants to do those things, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. What I am going to say is that the research on retirement and well-being is remarkably consistent on one point. The people who thrive in retirement are almost always the people who stay connected. Connected to other people, connected to a sense of purpose, connected to something outside of themselves that gives their days meaning and their weeks shape. That does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to be impressive. It just has to be real. For some people, that connection comes through volunteering. There are organizations across this country, from food banks to hospices, from heritage centers to youth clubs, from libraries to animal shelters, that are crying out for the kind of experienced, patient, dependable people that retirement tends to produce in abundance. If you have spent your career developing skills, whether that is in teaching, in healthcare, in engineering, in administration, in any field at all, those skills do not expire when your employment does. They are still valuable. They are still needed. And giving them freely to something you believe in can bring a depth of satisfaction that very few paid jobs ever manage to provide. For others, connection comes through learning. And this is something I want to highlight because it surprises people. The assumption that learning is for the young is one of the most persistently wrong ideas in our culture. The University of the Third Age, known as the U3A, has hundreds of thousands of members across the UK, and offers everything from history to photography, from creative writing to astronomy, from music to philosophy. All of it is peer-led, all of it is low cost, and all of it is built around the simple idea that curiosity does not have an age limit. If you have never explored what they offer, I would encourage you to find out about your local group. The people who attend these things consistently describe them as among the best things they have ever done for their happiness and mental health in retirement. And speaking of mental health, I want to spend a moment on something that often goes unspoken but affects far more retired people than anyone likes to admit. Loneliness. It is not a weakness. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is simply what can happen when the structure of a working life disappears and the social connections that came with it quietly vanish. Colleagues you saw every day become people you mean to catch up with but somehow never do. The routine that gave your week its shape is suddenly gone. And if you live alone or if your family is spread far across the country, the silence can become very loud very quickly. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know two things. First, you are not alone in feeling this way, not by any stretch of the imagination. And second, there are things that can genuinely help. Local community groups, befriending services, walking groups, faith communities, hobby clubs. All of these things exist, and all of them are full of people who once felt exactly as you do now, and took one small step towards something different. The hardest part is always the first step. After that, it tends to get easier remarkably quickly. I also want to say something to those of you who are perhaps not yet fully retired, who are in that in-between space of thinking about it, planning for it, maybe a year or two away from it. The best time to start thinking about what your retirement will look like is before it arrives. Not in an anxious, worrying way, but in a curious and open way. What do I actually want? What have I always wanted to try that I never had time for? What kind of days do I want to have? Who do I want to spend my time with? These are not small questions, and they deserve real thought. Because retirement without intention can feel empty even when you have everything you thought you needed. But retirement with a sense of purpose, even a loose and gentle one, can feel like the richest period of an entire lifetime. Let me come back to Margaret one last time. I spoke to her daughter recently. Margaret is now 71. She is still running the community garden. She has trained up a team of 12 volunteers, some of them much younger than her. She recently started doing a short session at the local primary school, showing children how to grow their own food. She told her daughter something that has stayed with me ever since I heard it. She said that she spent 38 years thinking her job was who she was. And it took retirement to show her that who she actually is so much bigger than any job could ever contain. You have worked hard. You have given years of your life, your energy, your talents, your patience, to jobs and families and communities and causes. You have earned this time. Not just financially, though yes, you have absolutely earned every penny of your and every benefit you are entitled to. You have earned the right to wake up in the morning and ask yourself what would make today a good day for me. You have earned the right to try something new, to fail at it, to laugh about it, and to try again. You have earned the right to be seen, to be heard, and to matter, not because of what you produce or what you contribute economically, but simply because of who you are. This is your time, not the beginning of the end, the beginning of something you have not had before. And if this video has given you even one small thought, one small spark of something that feels like possibility, then please leave a comment below and tell me what it is. Tell me what you are thinking about trying, what you have always wanted to do, what retirement means to you, or what you hope it will become. I read every single comment and every single story matters to me. Share this video with someone in your life who needs to hear this today, whether they are newly retired, about to retire, or somewhere in between. Give it a like if it spoke to you, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss the conversations that are designed entirely with you in mind. Because this channel exists for one reason and one reason only: to make sure that the people who gave so much never feel forgotten, never feel left behind, and always know that their best days are not behind them. They are still ahead, and we are going to face them together.